What is up, y'all? It is your host, Rennie, and you're listening to another episode of the Call Me Crazy podcast.
They're amazing.
It's perfect for your lifestyle.
Perfect.
I love it. I love it.
So, I'm here with my girl, my soul sister, Amanda. What's your favorite thing to be called? Because I have 1,000 names that people call me.
It's funny, I actually have 1,000 names people call me too. Maybe 1,000 names I call myself.
And then another 1,000.
Right? For the better sake of not, Amanda has always worked. Amanda is it. Amanda is me. I love it. I think one time someone looked it up and told me it means loved one. And I was like, all right, I love it that much more. I'm happy with being the loved one. Like, that's cool with me. I feel like it also embodies me. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you look like an Amanda. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. It works. Yeah, so Amanda works.
On our way here, while we were driving, I was thinking about my time working at Equinox as a personal trainer, and I don't know what the brand was, and you know, a beautiful thing about the beach is you lose service once you get here. So I couldn't look it up once we parked, but there was a brand in our little shop that obviously were selling overpriced water bottles, graphic tees, leggings that shouldn't be $90. And one of the brands was called Spiritual Gangster.
Yes. I know this brand very well.
And for some reason, when I was thinking about how to intro you, I was like, I feel like that's something that we align on so much, is like, I've always felt like I'm spiritual, but like I'm also a thug. Like, I also grew up, you know, not eating granola and going on hikes and having family vacations in Utah.
Yes,
So
exactly. The nature part came in after.
Yes. Once it was my choice, once I had it in my control. But I was born and grew up in the concrete jungle.
You said it, sister. Exactly. Couldn't have said it better. That's exactly it.
So when I was like, how am I going to introduce her? That's how I'll introduce you, but you can tell everyone else listening who you are, what you do, and a little bit about what you believe in.
I love that. Honestly, I take that as a compliment, so thank you. Spiritual gangster is not something I will ever deny. I think that it's a true part of me. If I'm honest, it's funny actually. The gangster part of me also, so to speak, right? What is that? You say thug, that part of you. I think it's just the raw part of you, the real part of you, that real raw realness, that idea that you don't have to like mask it to be like, you know, a certain version of maybe what society would digest better. I think it's the natural, it's the rawness. So whether that's gangster, thug, or just a real friend to all, if that comes off as rugged to some people or standoffish, I think you said it best. You're like, then they may not be your people.
Yeah.
But for me, I am a soul tribe viber. I like to bring people together. I think that's how we found each other. You know, just naturally finding people who are on my frequency and finding ways to bring love and light into their life and appreciating that they bring love and light into mine. So in the wholeness of that, whether that's through my work or through my art or my passions or my yoga or just singing and dancing in the parking lot while you see, you know, everyone looks at us and we're just spreading joy. I think wholeheartedly that is who I am. I am a joyful person. And a lot of people in this day and age, when they introduce themselves, they'll tell you their first name, their last name, and maybe their job. You know, what do I do? One of my favorite things I've always said is when they ask me what I do, I tell them whatever it takes.
I love that.
Thank you. I'll be honest, I don't think I definitely read that somewhere. I definitely didn't write that, but at the end of the day, when they ask me what I do, you know, if in a nutshell, it's whatever it takes, and that means to live a life of joy, happiness, and find a way to spread that. So that's me, I think, in a nutshell.
Oh my God, I will never forget that. I will never forget
Take it,
that.
own it, tattoo it. I think it would look
Please.
fabulous.
That should be my next tattoo.
I'll be there. Let's do it.
Oh my God, let's do it. I need some scripture. It's been a long time since I've gotten, like, I feel like any lettering or anything like that on
It's funny you say that. I've been called to get something new. I will say I was very strategic in my tattoo process, and so it was either always a milestone in my life or even maybe like a down point in my life, but it was something that was really significant, and I always wanted to, like, whether it was memorialize that or just like
capsulize it.
Yes, I would put in a tattoo and that would be it. There's something about the beauty and the pain aspect to it that I always loved, because whether it was a transition or just like a good time or a shit time in life, you know, there was beauty and pain. So I was like, the tattoo like perfectly embodied that. But so I think, you know, we should do that, because it's been calling me again, and maybe it's time to do a little beauty pain.
And I also feel like there's beautiful places to go with way cheaper tattoos.
Oh, 100%. Oh my God, don't get me started. I think that was the one thing I did kick myself in the ass about when I was in Bali. I did not get a tattoo, and I definitely should have gotten a tattoo. Bali was actually a great, very amazing experience, and that was something I should have memorialized with the tattoo, and I didn't do it. But that just says that I'll be back one day, and that's what we'll do.
That's literally what I was gonna say, but I'm like, well, let me not interrupt her. I was gonna say, you'll be back, and you said, I'll be back.
I'll be back. So
she will be back.
So with that said, I will be back. To be continued. We'll see where I actually get to go. But I definitely hope that is in the cards for me. And I will say, just put it out there, hopefully this year. And if not this year, next year. But honestly, we have, still 6 months left. So I'm not giving up hope. Anything could happen. Anything can change. And in the drop of a hat, I could be on a flight to Bali tomorrow. So who fucking knows? Here's hoping. Here's hoping.
So I have you here today because I'm continuing on with the Give Yourself Grace series, which is my mental health series on my podcast. The second season, the second series that we're diving in, and there's no one else I'd rather have here today with me.
Oh my God, you sing to my soul. Give yourself grace. When I tell you, those words speak to me deeper than ever. I wear the t-shirt almost every morning. And I would say to a fault, but it's not. It's in my car as we speak, right in my passenger seat, because every morning that is literally the shirt I wear while I go take a moment to give myself some grace. And it is a movement, it is a monument, it is a beacon in my life. So honestly, just truly thank you for even putting those words in concrete on paper. Since while I'm having my moment, other people can see me, they read the words, and you know what, they get it. They get it, and maybe one day, you know, they'll be able to have that moment for themselves.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. That is technically the last question, but since you just said that, I now want to ask what Give Yourself Grace means to you.
I love it. It's so funny you say that. I'm such a backwards person, so of course I would start with at the end of the beginning. I make that joke all the time, and it's funny. My current boss in my job right now, she's actually really always annoyed with me about this. I always do things backwards. I'm a backwards thinker. It's just how I am. I start from the end. I think when I was in high school, I used to take tests, and I would purposely go to the back and do the last question first.
Wow.
I like to do things backwards. So with the last question, I'll tell you my answer. Give yourself grace. Grace is something that I actually just recently learned in my adult life. I always knew the word. I always thought it was a pretty name, that, you know, it was cute, it was pretty. And I'll be honest, it wasn't until I was listening, I think, to a podcast a couple years ago, and I heard one of the actresses that were being interviewed, and she talked about when she first learned about the idea of grace. And even then, I still didn't get it. You don't really experience grace or what grace means until I think you really go through a moment where you truly have to offer yourself some. Giving yourself grace to me ultimately means, and giving yourself grace to anybody, giving anyone grace, is giving the no judgment, no harping on bullshit aspect of life. Just a moment to appreciate that you are you are human. It is what it is what it will be. Things are hard enough. We harp enough on the bullshit and the pain and the struggle and the confusion. So to have a moment to give yourself grace is to take a step back and truly be like, all right, you know what? It's okay. I'm human too. Tomorrow's another day. I can try again. I will try again. I can be again. And in turn, I think the more grace you give yourself, you learn to give other people grace, because it's not easy out there and people aren't so easy to deal with. But when you realize they're just human, it is what it is, and it is what it will be. We're all just trying out here. We're all just trying to walk each other home. I ultimately think that's the answer in grace.
I love that spin on it. I feel like, yeah, to encapsulate what you said, like grace is just the acknowledgement of humanness. and just giving people humility, like actual humility, not the, marketed version of humility, but like the textbook definition and embodiment of humility.
Yes, anyone can be angry, anyone can have a really bad day, anyone can rear-end anybody on a highway and, want to lose their shit for it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is what it's going to be, so we have to just find a way to give ourselves grace, take a step back, and ultimately, I'll be honest, it really came from God. When God offers me that grace every day, no matter how bad I fuck up, or I lose my way, or I think I'm losing my way, or I think I'm not following the way, whatever that may be, we're so hard on ourselves. No, he wakes me up every morning and tells me, well, guess what, baby girl? You get another chance. It's gonna be all right. And I think the more I wake up and I get that chance, I realize that's grace.
Oh my gosh. You need to, well, I know you speak publicly, because that was something that like really drew me to your practice and your morning classes per se. And what kept me there was just the way you just, it felt like it was scripted, but it didn't feel disingenuous. It just felt scripted because it was just so good. And it flowed so well. Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is scripted because it feels like she's reading off of something that's not hers. It's like, it felt that way because it was just like, you just kept going and you just like kept flowing and just like kept guiding us, because, it just, in my yoga practice, when I met you, 2-3 years ago, to even today, not that I'm not confident enough, but I wouldn't be able to flow through my practice and also guide people at the same time. Like, I can't. And me and my practice right now, like, it would be too overwhelming for me. So it was just like, it was really impressive, and it kept me there.
Thank you. I'll be honest, to speak to that is very true. You are not alone in that. It is not an everyday thing that I can do. It is not an every season thing I can do. And I think I learned that actually trying to do it every day and trying to do it too much, because I truly thank you. The fact that it flows that way, it's beautiful. The fact that it flows that way, or the fact that it sounds that way, I'll be honest, I take no credit for it. That is a gift and another grace from God. I truly do believe, and I don't just say that like, I am a vessel for those things, or a vessel for these things, whatever that message is, or whatever that peace or positivity I could deliver in that moment, guidance, as you said, any kind of way, if it's through my words or just through the movements I could take your body through. For me, that's just a gift from God. I'm just there to be the vessel, and he has a word for you today, or a message for you today, or a feeling for you to feel to just help you to keep going, or to figure it out, or to get you there. And if I can be that person to deliver that message and let you hear it out, or stay at least one more day, then that's like enough for me. So it's funny because I realized I can't do it every day, although I love that. I can't do it every season. I definitely have my ways about my practice where it does have to become a little more personal too, where I will have to take a step back and kind of like, do it for myself for a little while. And then when I'm ready and my body's truly ready, my practice and my speech and my mind, body, and soul are in an alignment place where I am healthy enough to deliver a message again, then I'm ready to step back out and, kind of be that person for the people again.
Were you at one point doing it every day?
Every single day of my life for, I'm gonna say, almost 6 months straight.
Wow.
It was
on the boardwalk?
On the boardwalk. It was 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. every single day.
Servicing people every day for 6 months from 5 to 9. From 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. people. Yeah. This is a saint walking.
Oh my gosh, I wish, thank you, but no, definitely not a saint in the better word. I definitely, of course, this is all we are sinners. It's funny, the funny thing you say about that.
Not in that way.
Yes,
I know you sin, sweetie, but.
It's so funny. It's so funny. I had to learn the hard way. That now, I'd say that, and it's like I cringe saying that I was actually doing that every single day. You learn. You learn that you will lose your capacity at some point to hold what you want to hold so much for so many people. It gets heavy. You will realize that sometimes you even lose your voice. And I did lose my voice in the quite literal sense. I had, I think, I think a sore throat, let's say by a Thursday, and by that Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning I woke up, I literally could not speak. And not having a voice taught me that sometimes I don't always need to deliver the message through my words. Sometimes a presence is enough. Sometimes just holding space is enough. And those are the lessons in my practice I had to learn as a teacher and as a leader, that sometimes you can't always be so hands-on, so vocal, so there in such an aiding sense that you don't actually let the movement happen in the natural way it's supposed to. And so I will say I look back at those 6 months, and it was almost, like I say, a little less, but in total, like in that whole season of my life, it was definitely 6 months of getting up every day and doing yoga on the boardwalk, 5 a.m. from sunrise to 9 a.m. and like sometimes even till 12 p.m. because some people just wouldn't leave, and like who am I to tell them to go? Like, you know, you need this more, I'm here for you, and conversations would just go and go. And so I learned a lot. I grew as a teacher, I grew as a person, and I grew as somebody who understood that my practice or my gift is definitely a responsibility. It's not something to take for granted or take lightly. And if you're going to use it, you have to use it for good and with grace, and that does count for yourself too. So, you know, I had to take a little while off, and I've missed it ever since, and I've tried to come back every so often in little bits and seasons as I have, but you learn a lot, you know.
Yeah.
It's a journey, how they say.
Wow. I'm so happy to have met you along yours, and, you know, even going back to what you said, as much as she flowed and as much as she spoke, she kind of matched that with silent time and making sure that we flowed with our own flow and giving us space and time to find that flow, and making sure she just wasn't directing us to do an hour and a half of exactly what she was doing, which for a long time I thought that was yoga.
You are speaking to my soul, Rennie, as you always do. Honestly, that is just nothing new for me. Thank you. You resonate very deeply with what I always try to deliver with yoga. My practice, the message in general. It's not what people think it is. And I mean that with love, and I mean that with light, and I'm not just saying that. It's just, it's so misconstrued in the society to be such a rigid practice. One that you have to follow a certain set of poses in a strict flow, or sometimes not even a flow. It's sometimes stagnant movement, and it's just not very freeing or liberating. It's sometimes the opposite, and it's crippling, and it's difficult. And people tell me, I can't do your class, I'm not flexible. And I'm like, that's the biggest lie. It's like saying, I'm too dirty to take a shower. What do you mean you can't take my yoga class because you're not flexible? That's exactly why you want to take yoga class. You want to open those parts of your body that aren't allowing you to flex because they're so tight and they hurt. And so for me, ultimately, like, thank you, because my practice, no matter what it is, whether I call myself a teacher or honestly I'm just a student that sits in the front of the room, I hold space. The point of a yoga teacher, I learned, is to hold space. To hold space for you, to hold space for me, to hold space for us, the collective, to just have a moment, to be in our moment, to realign, whether that's mentally one day, physically the next, spiritually, emotionally, sometimes inactively, sometimes you're just numb and you just need to lay on a mat, and girl, that's okay too. For me, if I could just hold that space for you, whether that's an hour and a half, or just the 20 minutes you got, because life is just so busy, then I'm just happy to be that for you. Sometimes it's not about the poses, you know?
Yeah.
It's just about what you can walk away from the practice with.
No, 100%. And I think also, like, that time in my life, I was very stressed. I was, you know, waking up really early for gym shifts, floor shifts, and taking that moment for myself and slowing down and being stuck with someone saying, I don't have anything for you to do next. You gotta make something up on your own, and feel yourself. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll have to do that then. And I did it, and it was amazing. It was a pause on my day, my week, whatever it was. and it was a pause that I needed. And now, I try my hardest to recognize when my body is asking for a pause, and if I can grant it that, obviously with the woes of life you can't always say yes, but recognizing it at the very least and trying to honor it later if I can't do it in the moment.
That's what it's all about. Sometimes it's like you'll hear the call, you hear it knocking, whether that's in like a little pinch in your shoulder one day or, a little like kink in your neck, but eventually we keep ignoring it, it'll manifest into bigger things that we can't ignore. So it's like to give yourself grace in your life. There you go, girl. That's you giving yourself the grace. Always come back to you, coming back to the call, coming back to your body. And like you said, the woes of life sometimes don't let us. Sometimes it's even that simple 5 minutes to take a step back, to not rush to the next thing, to not answer the next call, watch that phone ring, take a breath, and to be like, what, it's okay to just be.
Watch that phone ring, please. If y'all take anything away from this, I hope it's to just watch it ring for once, because that's another thing that in that time of my life, and even just a year ago, even just 6 months ago, I'm always picking up, gotta pick it up. And I live and work in a culture where people will literally, I had a client, I didn't answer them for an hour and 5 minutes. I was called multiple times, texted multiple times, and within that body of text was asked if I was sleeping.
Oh no.
It's 11 a.m. It's 11 a.m. It's a violation of my personal and everything.
Yes.
But it's also 11 a.m. and y'all know damn well I wake up at 5:30. I have other clients besides you, and even if I have other clients besides you, what if I shouldn't even go through the list, but what if I was taking a shower? What if I was taking a shit? What if I was in a meeting like I was? What if I was at a doctor's appointment? It was an hour and 5 minutes that might be warranted after a 6 to 8 hour period, but until then, it was such a passive aggressive, what else could you be doing?
Because God forbid I have a life outside of here and your urgency to my work and your needs.
You can pay me for 24/7 hour access.
Oh, by all means, yes.
I will make up a price for you.
By all means, if you can handle it, yes.
I've never thought about it, but I sure will think about it. If you serious, I'll give you a number. I will give you a number.
I'll tell you what, I think mine is too astronomically high for anybody to pay that.
Right.
I'm too much of a free spirit. You can't have me 24/7. You can barely have me 268 because I don't want to be there at all. I don't want to be there at all. With that said, it's funny because people really do have that kind of entitlement to your life, and that's my biggest problem with the current society and culture that we live in. Sometimes I laugh about me and my phone. I'm like, I'm an old lady pressing it with one button. I'm like, why this thing don't work? And people are like, why are you like that? Come on, you know how to use it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to use this. This is the last thing I want in my life. I think I left my phone in the car every time we've been together. I don't want to be contacted. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Of course, in the professional sense, right? We're supposed to, be attentive to at a certain point and to a certain extent, to think that in this world we have to be on it 24/7 and constantly in that state of fight or flight. And if I don't, God forbid, guess what happens when you don't answer the phone? Life will continue and they will just be fine. And at the end of the day, I think some people having too much access to you is never a good thing. So definitely turn off the phone, leave it off as much as possible, just put it away, and time and place. And if it could be 90% of the time not the place, leave it at home. You don't need it. Who needs to be connected that much anyways?
No, we shouldn't be.
No.
We shouldn't be.
We could be connected in other ways. I'm all about being connected in other ways. And of course, I do value social media. I value it beyond my conversations with social media. I actually ambassador for it. I ambassador for all things, technology, ways it can connect us. Oh, I'm all about it. But for the most part, I'm also interested in seeing other ways we're willing to connect outside of that. So if it's putting down our phones a little more, or being like you and I right now in a place where I think there's absolutely no Wi-Fi. That's it. We're having a great day.
Yeah.
It's all about the connections.
For me, I feel like it's funny because what I do is so heavily has to do with social media and being on my phone and being attentive. but it gives me a sense of freedom that no job in the real verse or not, you know what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah.
Like, so it's a double entendre of sorts, where it's like, it's giving me the freedom, but then I'm also literally chained to this thing.
Yes.
But I'm so fucking grateful.
Oh,
but I'm also chained.
Yes.
But
I hear you. It is the double-edged sword. Oh my gosh. But I will tell you, I'm not a great artist, but if I was, I would be able to draw the sword and the idea I have in my mind. I think the sword, if you, let's say, twist it, combobulate it enough, get it into what you need it to look like, you can turn it into a balance, a balance scale. And I think ultimately that's the secret. It's not for it to be the double-edged sword, it's for you to find the balance. And if as long as we can find the balance in it, I think you actually embody that perfectly. You turn it off when you are done. And you're like, all right, that's it for Instagram for the day. I'm gonna just be texting you from now on because, you know, I am not gonna touch that app. I've posted all the things I needed to post. Clients are well done, we're good. Now I can have my day. It's like, okay, there's the balance, you know? And then, like, of course, use it to connect with me, you know, like, you know, connect with your friends, connect with your mom, things you need. But, like, all about the balance. And whoa, am I learning that this year. It's a balance. Is it fun to edit these?
it actually is.
I can imagine.
And this one, it'll be fun because this was a tricky one. I didn't have my tripod, so and everything is not the way I would like to see it in my head. So
Oh, I love this. Okay.
I'm gonna have fun
Universe
with
is
like
challenging you a little
finagle it. I feel like I'll put more graphics and time and just extra because to make it something.
I hear what you're saying.
You know,
yeah.
to make it a full picture. But yeah, to wrap up the social media thing, for me, it's the vehicle in which I can sit down and do things like this, right? Because without Alexandra sending me your class flyer, without me seeing that class flyer through my DMs, and then getting in real life, carpooling with her, going down to the boardwalk, meeting you and being able to be here and capture moments like these and share them with people, like that's to me like what it should be, the vehicle, because we've never been able to be so in touch like this, so we really don't know what the hell to do. And I just think if we, like you said, find that balance, and I'm not perfect, trust me, this app and this literal device was made to be addictive, just like McDonald's is made to be addictive, and I indulge in both. And we just did.
Said it, yes.
And
As
we
you
just
saw.
did. So try to just let it be the vehicle for real life things, because I just feel like they're just so important and we can't forget the value of that.
I believe it. Honestly, I never thought about it as the vehicle. Of course, I use it as one, but even just to put that literal like mythology, that term in my head, I love it. 100%, because it could drive sales, it could drive interactions, it could drive anything you need it to drive. Use it as a vehicle you need to, but don't forget the destination you're going on. Don't get sucked in on the road. Just keep
real
going.
life impact, real life connections,
and that's what it's all about. Honestly, because like you said, without it, we would have never met. So things are meant to be. And I will say, it's funny to say that, like 2 years, almost 3 years. Time flies.
Well, since we're moving backwards, the second to last question is, and I know, well, at least I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to say I know, but for me personally, when I get asked, if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? I always think about things, but I don't think them literally. I think that everything is divine timing, but I ask this question so people can tell a younger viewer that might be watching something they wish they could have told themselves.
That's so funny, because I mean, I'll be honest, I turned 26 this year. 26 is a fabulous year, because it's not 25. I make the joke, if anyone's about to turn 25, I mean that with love. It's a great year, enjoy it, but it was definitely the hardest year of my life. So coming out of it and finally saying I'm 26, I feel wiser. Had you asked me that question at any other point in my life, I'm like, I'm not old enough to answer that. But that said, no, of course you are. It's always, because timing is relative. So it's funny when I listen to people that I look up to, I'm always trying to think of, or I'm always listening in and I'm trying to think of, you know, like what would they do when in my age, my phase right now. So I listen for that, you know, what were they doing at 26? What were they doing at 25, 24, 22, 23, you know, like where were they at in life? And I'll be honest, it's interesting. Life is all perspective. It's a journey. So I do truly believe, and of course in all my spirituality, I really do believe that you, in a weird way, are coaching your younger self in the moment, whether you know it or not. And like, how do I explain that? Because I do believe that in a future tense, I have a higher self coaching me through this moment I am in right now. And if I can connect to that higher voice, that voice that I hear in my head all the time that's telling me to keep going, you know, maybe that's 30-year-old Amanda. Maybe 30-year-old Amanda is whispering to 26-year-old Amanda, keep going, because I promise you, every time I tune in, that's all I hear. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep going. I think about it. I think I must have been telling my 18-year-old self, my 16-year-old self, my 12-year-old self, or my 8-year-old self, that truly and honestly, every little thing is gonna be all right. And as corny as that sounds, or as cliche as that sounds, I truly mean that for anyone listening, any younger viewer, any younger version of me that hears me at 26 while I sit on this beach with like one of the dopest souls I've met just by coincidence, and just life and passion, just connections, being in the right place at the right time. Trust and believe, my friends, everything is gonna be all right. I would tell my younger self that's the best advice I have, because I think we are so heavily like burdened with worry when we grow up, when we're starting to grow up, when we're starting to look into the future and we're trying to wonder what's the right path, or what are we doing wrong. Or I remember at a very hard time in my younger years, like 16 years old, I would cut school a lot. And my teachers used to scare me and tell me that I would be nothing in life and I would never make it. Like, no, you assholes, that's not it. I'm going through a mental health crisis. I'm 16 and, you know, like, no one really understands what I'm going through. Of course, you're an angsty teen at that age, but at the end of the day, you need someone to just hear you out. You don't need someone to tell you that you're not going to make it in life. As I sit on the beach at 26, totally fine, perfectly all right, I would tell younger me, girl, trust and believe. Everything's going to be all right. You have nothing to worry about.
And set the scene for everyone watching who doesn't know you. Where did you grow up? Who'd you grow up with? And how did that lead you to spirituality?
I love that. I love that because it's actually so random. We are currently sitting on a beach right now in
Norwalk,
Connecticut. Look at that. I have to even ask because that is the little Bronx girl coming out of me. So I'm from New York City. I'm from the Bronx, born and raised Bronx native, and really born and raised, like I was born in Bronx Lebanon Hospital. 96, right? I'm a 90s baby. And what that truly means is that my mom was that 90s mom. You know, she had 4 daughters, single mother, raising us 4 in the Bronx. And whether that was a struggle or hard for her, I could tell you that growing up, she never let us really see that it was hard. And of course we're smart. I'll be honest, any kid growing up in, whether that's the ghetto or poverty or just a lower income household, you see things, you're smarter, you grow up a little faster, you know, you tune in. But even then, they never let us understand anything but happiness and love and joy. I grew up with a lot of love. And I'll tell you, so I didn't have a lot of money, but I had a lot of love growing up. Born and raised in the Bronx, and my family's Puerto Rican. So we're all about the family, right? Familia. My grandfather says all the time, I'm not a rich man, honey, but look at all my daughters. Look at all my, I got jewels. Look at these, I'm the richest man in the world. And he says, my familia. And he always says, mucho, mucho amor. I love you, so much love. And the idea is that that's honestly all you need. So yes, piss poor, super poor, worst poor. Like the thing about poor is like 9 people to a basement apartment in the Bronx, New York. Like, yeah, Christmases were amazing because we all loved each other. We were all there and around, and we didn't know anything less. We didn't know anything more. So to say that I didn't love my lifestyle, no, I did. To the outsider looking in, you would think that that was a struggle. I was a happy kid. I've always found a way to be happy. I'm one of 4 girls, so big family. And when my mom finally met my stepdad, she moved us and him, you know, they aligned, and that was a beautiful story. My stepdad is actually who I call, like, you know, my real father. That's the person who raised me. He came into my life when I was about 8 years old, and They dated for a while, and it wasn't until about I was 13 years old. So like 5 years in, they decide that they want to move us up to Portchester, New York for high school. And that is a major stepping change point in my life because it changed the trajectory of my life entirely. I was born and raised in the Bronx. My sisters went to Bronx high schools, you know. That would have just been my life and a city girl, and however that would have led me. The Lord, the universe, you know, the plan had a different plan for me. And so one of 4 girls, my stepdad comes with a son, and so that's my brother. And now I become the middle of 5. And I would, let's say, technically be the oldest of the 3 that end up actually taking that move up to Portchester. My sisters ended up not coming with us. And so, again, just a different plan for us. Our lives look very different now. So it's funny how that changed us. But all that to say this, it really brought me to see a different life. Portchester, a lot of people who live there think it's one of the like more minority towns, but I look at it as one of like the richest places. I think those streets are paved with gold, and I mean that. Like, I remember getting to Portchester High School and seeing like grass and like a football field and a tennis court. I was like, what? This is high school? Like, this is things you would see on like Lizzie McGuire or something.
No, I came here and was literally
Shell-shocked. What is this?
There's hot lunch with like the trays, like just like in the movies.
In the movies, this is real. I was like, wait, I'm
gonna break out in song now.
Yes, I was waiting for it. When I tell you it's actually funny, that's exactly what the experience was like. I remember showing up with my first day of school. I was in the last couple of months in 8th grade, and then we ended up going to the high school because I transferred like mid-8th grade. Big hoop earrings, Timberland boots, and like just ready in my like jeans, my jean chains, and like I remember just realizing like, oh my God, there's Abercrombie and Fitch everywhere.
Yeah.
What is this? Welcome to suburbia. And I'll be honest, at the time I might have hated it, like let's say like the first 2 weeks. And then of course you get well acclimated and you start, you know, changing your style, wearing Ugg boots instead of Timberlands, and you start seeing how the world changes you. And it's not even in a bad way, I'll be honest. Again, you're just a kid at the time, trying to fit in, trying to find your way. And as I kind of learned to find my way, I realized that I am a little bit of a rebel child. I don't always fit in. I have my ways. I think I'm always like a double-edged sword in that way. I'm great when I want to be great, and then I could be a fuck if I want to be a fuck, and I mean that with love. So ultimately, I did the whole straight A honor student cheerleader. I was a high school cheerleader. That was great. But I also had my little like my shadow side, my demons, of course. Went through an abusive relationship in high school. So that definitely took me through the years of 13, 14, 15, 16. And at the time, nobody knew. I kept it a great secret. I was a cheerleader, so you get bruises anyways, and you're always a little muffed up, so nobody ever noticed. And it wasn't until, unfortunately, it happened in school that it really came out. All that to say this, these things that happened in my life as I continue to grow, I realized and I look back, all were meant to be moments. I don't look back and regret anything. They grew me into the woman I am today. But at the time, that became one of the harder points in my life. And I completely deflected. I hated high school. No more cheer team. And that wasn't by choice. They ended up cutting me. And again, another source of support that you should have had that just wasn't there. There goes American high school in a nutshell. With that said, I do hope it's gotten better. I'm not in high school now. I could only hope that they've fixed the support team. So not judging in this moment, but definitely when I was in high school, wasn't all there. Did have a therapist though. They did give me one, which was nice. And I will tell you, she was the only one. Emily, if you're out there, if you're ever listening, I will tell you, I've always wanted to know. They never let me know her last name. They told me I'm not allowed to look her up outside of here, whatever. Emily, whoever you are, girl, you were my girl. She would come see me like every time lunchtime and just pick me up every like Thursday or something. And she was the only person at the time where everyone in life was shitting on me. I was 16 in high school, and she would tell me, none of this shit matters. None of this is real. As she like, you know, covered her tattoos that were, you know, coming out of her beautiful blazer and, you know, her perfect, like, you could tell she lived a life outside of here. And at the end of the day, she saw me for who I was. Yeah. And realizing that there were people like that who existed in the world. Real people who saw past this grades bullshit and like, and I'm not saying grades are bullshit, do good in school and all that, but you know what I mean. Like there was real things going on with me and nobody heard my call or my cry. I think that's where my spirituality began. Wow. Where the mental health crisis spirals a little bit, but not in a bad way. It's always just a call for something greater. You need something, it wants to be answered. And so as I figured that out and I find my healing, I start to realize that the word of healing exists. and you really can heal yourself or heal with other people like Emily around. And if I could have ever been that soul for somebody else, I said I would be. And so naturally, not by choice or anything, whether it was just any random job I picked up or friends I had, I found myself being the healer, being the helping hand. Tattoos, we talked about tattoos. This one on the left side, that's why I have it. Because after that I learned this, that rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life.
Wow.
And if I was able to heal myself from such a dark time, I'll tell you, it was funny, for a long time when I look back, I would just see black in that phase of my life. I didn't remember it. I literally blacked it out.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you can understand that. I blacked out the abuse. I blacked out the mental abuse. I blacked out everything. I couldn't see it. To see myself come out of that time in my life and heal from it and become what I call myself, like a beautiful flower now. And I mean that again with love. Like sunflowers, they always get me because it's the idea that like I really did bloom out of such a dark time, and I can face the sun, and it's okay to be in love and light no matter how bad it was before, no matter when you hit your rock bottom. Because I'm telling you, at the time I was 16 and everyone was telling me, you're never gonna graduate, you're never gonna make it, you're never gonna do anything, you're this Bronx girl, right? So of course you're gonna live up to that legacy. And it's always just all these things. And oh my God, honestly, I'm telling little Amanda now, girl, everything's gonna be okay. Don't listen to them. Keep going, keep fighting your fight, you little rebel. And as I somehow find the way, I realize that being okay is real. It does happen. It takes time. Healing takes time. Rock bottom is okay. It happens. It is real. It's just a foundation to build upon. And somewhere in all of that, if you can find your peace, even if it's just for a second, then that's it for me. That's it. So that's how I found my way to spirituality. I just needed fucking peace.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, that's like, it's weird when I think about it. It's so real, like looking back, it's like, yeah, I live that. Like I live that. And it's weird when you think about it. It's like, no, I didn't mean to learn all these things because of it. That just happened accidentally. So don't go looking for the answers. Don't go looking for the lessons. Trust me, they will find you. Because I didn't mean to learn any of that. I just learned it as I kept going.
Wow, that's incredible.
Life is crazy.
And it's all for the right reason, at the right time, even if you can't see it yet. Even if you can't feel it yet.
You said it. And I believe that wholeheartedly. It's a testimony to every time you look back and you really didn't know what was going on. But then somehow it ended up working out. And you were like, you see how lost you were at this phase, and boom, the blessing was around the corner. The answer was coming right to you. It was sometimes like on its way to you. You just had to take one step further. I'm like, all right, I see the plan. So at the time I didn't understand. I did not. But as I'm older now, and I love coaching and teaching and being either a guide, a leader, a teacher, whatever form I come in for anybody I come to. Seeing kids, whether they're in high school or just like, you know, in college, or even just young women in their young 20s going through it, thinking that what they're going through is the worst, the end all be all. I love to tell them, baby, it's gonna be all right.
I'm still here.
Yep. And trust me, if I am, you will be. And I never take anything for granted or anything less. I know what people go through are hard, and I never discredit that. That's one thing about your healing and the process. You have to know, no matter if everything's gonna be all right, that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt now.
No.
Validate that too. Tell him, Ranny. Say it, girl. Validate it too.
Validate it.
Just because everything gonna be all right don't mean that shit don't hurt now.
It doesn't mean you can't feel hurt and say you're hurt and scream because you're
Have
hurt.
it, yes. Have your rant, have your cry, have your scream. You'll feel that in the moment, because that is what you're meant to be feeling right now. Just trust and believe at the end of that you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So fuck it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the moment now. Whether that's a good cry, a good scream, a good release of the emotion, you just gotta bellow it out. I know that every time I needed to, I just had to. And maybe I looked sad, I looked crazy, I looked different to the other people who maybe passed me on the beach and they're like, why is this girl crying? Why is she letting it out? Because in that moment I knew that no matter what, I knew God was with me, He was watching me, the next moment was coming, I was gonna be okay. But right now it was okay to just cry. And that's okay too. Just cry, just be, just let it out. And somewhere in all of that, the healing happens. That's healing.
Yeah.
That's healing for you. We're dancing in the parking lot too.
Oh, we're dancing in the parking lot.
Because sometimes that has to come through, and whether that's it too. I'll take it. It don't always have to be a cry.
Whatever form it is, whatever form it is. Yes, yes, yes. I was talking about this just the other day too. Actually, on the podcast. I'm talking about just the other day. It was on the podcast with Mandy. Amanda.
I saw that. I was like, that's so fun. That's so cosmic.
2 Amandas in a row. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together.
I love it. Amanda squared. That's the way to go.
She was just saying that, like, yes, we love a bubble bath, but self-care is crying. Self-care is healing. Self-care is making yourself breakfast. Self-care is drinking water, and it doesn't have to be anything that costs money. Doesn't have to be anything that even takes you outside of your home. It's maybe something that even puts you in a space that is essentially free. You know, they like locking up these parks and all that, but to get here with my residents being in this town, I get free parking and I won't get a ticket in this parking lot, and we walked on here with no beach pass. There is a hack though. I parked at the dog park instead of the beach.
Smart cookie, there you go.
Because I wouldn't need
always gotta find the way. We're going on a budget over here. You gotta find the way.
Exactly, and it was just a short walk.
I didn't even notice there was a walk.
Right.
So honestly, as a guest, I thought we were parking in the right place. I said, this makes sense. This is what it's gonna be. The beach was right here. It's perfect. Honestly, the free places are the best places. I find it funny. That's my one biggest pet peeve about living in New York or just the Northeast in general. They lock up the beaches. They lock up all the free parks. And it's like, you want us to go mentally crazy? We already have the city in every corner, every space in our face. We just need a place to be free. But, you know, they make you pay for that too. So, society. What are we
paying for freedom? I ain't a stranger to it. No, I am not. I wish I was, though.
Is that not a shame?
Oh. I saw this tweet, and I'm not even on Twitter, but tweets somehow end up on Instagram, and it said, one day we were roaming the earth, eating fruit from the ground, and then the next we have a credit score. What the fuck happened?
Oh
what
my
the
God.
fuck happened?
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm such a nature buff. Like, I literally sit in the grass and the trees and the land and the sand, and I look around and I realize that none of this shit is real. What is a credit score? What is the IRS? Who are you? You don't exist out
I don't
here.
even know if this sand is real, bitch.
You see, none of this is real, and the existential crisis becomes true, and then I gotta talk myself down.
I gotta talk myself down because I'm
I'm
still here.
Like you said earlier, we still gotta pay the parking tickets. We still gotta do it. I'm still here.
We still here.
It's a shame. I'm like, these are the games, these are the rules we gotta play by still. I hear it. But no, if I sit out here long enough and I do connect with the land and the nature and the sun, I start to realize none of it's real. So, wow, he's stressing it. What do you mean I can't go in the water? That's my favorite one.
Oh my God!
No,
he said I could go in the water. Remember, it was just not past the knees.
Sir, this is God's water. This is
just not past the knees.
This is fine. I don't understand. I don't, and I do to an extent. I understand. Okay, rules and things. Okay, honestly, I think we are micromanaged too much as people.
I'm not even in your view line. You literally had to paddle your little surfboard.
And that's what's wrong with not people minding their business. Yes.
I'm like, you had a journey to me. He was paddling so long when he was on his way back. I was like, that was like a 25-minute ride.
Yes,
I'm like, this isn't even your jurisdiction at this point.
Thank you. Nope, just want to just be extra because God forbid people are having fun without paying for it.
Right.
You cannot enjoy this water unless you pay for it.
No.
Really? Because did you pay for it before you put your name on?
Right. They didn't even have a day pass available. It was only permit. So you have to buy for the whole season to step on this lake.
I understand taxes and I understand all that. Like, I hate when I start speaking in that way to people, they want to break down to me all the politics behind it. No, I understand that. Oh, no, I get it. I don't agree.
Yeah.
And I didn't really co-sign this. I just happened to be born in this exact spot. And somehow that means I'm subjected to this bullshit. I don't really see how it's fair personally, and I try to stay politically correct about it because some people really don't want to hear it. But like, bruh, is that just the rules because they just want to be the rules and tax everything? Or can we all really kumbaya and find a way to, like, you know, share this beach without somebody telling me I can't be here because I don't live in Connecticut. So if I showed up with my Yonkers place, they were gonna tell me.
They wouldn't have told you. You just walked back to a ticket, baby.
Oh, see, that's it. And we're good on the tickets. We're good on all things right now. That's a shame.
Thank you.
That's
Isn't
a shame.
it crazy? Those white people who live on that island.
I was watching that and I wasn't sure if like that was real or not.
It's one person's house. It's one family's house.
Just hanging out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
And they have to get a boat too.
I knew a family who knew that family and they were never there. And that is crazy to me. That is crazy to me.
I'm sure they have like a security alarm on it, but still.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Well, then again, though, all those white people around here were like robbed because of, the cars and like. They leave them open. I don't know. Rich people just leave their cars open.
I mean, listen, my mom works for Land Rover and Jaguar, and Tommy Hilfiger in Greenwich left his car open, and that shit got robbed.
See, I'm not surprised. I also wonder what he had in his car.
And bad things happen to bad people.
There you go. Calm. I wonder what he had in his car, though.
I know. What does Tommy Hilfiger having in his car? A golden retriever.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh,
The
there
Abercrombie
it is.
and Finch underwear.
Yeah.
And the cologne. And the glove department. Yep.
He definitely doesn't have anyone else's cologne but his own.
Narcissistic.
Or no, actually, the rich don't actually wear the products they put out. They buy the...
that's peasantry.
Yeah, no, that's peasantry.
God forbid. God forbid.
God forbid you wear the stuff that you sell.
That's just weird.
Let's just put our name all over it like the most vain motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, no. And watch you walk around in it.
Yeah.
That's the funny part. Yeah. Oh, the wealthy. Oh, the wealthy. No judgment either. More power to you. I just find it funny. The mentality is real. That's the thing, though. We all have really, really weird, different mentalities, and I'm starting to accept that in, like, a more accepting way than I've ever been, right? I've always been super accepting. So bad, so cool. I'm like, I'm down. Whatever you want to do. But as I really get older, I'm not even mad at you anymore for the way that you think. It's sad because I was so long trying to be very, not combative in a bad way, but in a way like, no, you gotta understand where I'm coming from. Some people, I think, are just a losing battle, and that's okay. They just gonna be shocked when they see the new world that we are creating. And it's like, see, I tried to tell you before, but you don't wanna listen. You will just wait and see, because know that the new generation is coming. We're here. Actually, we're here. We're turning up. We're living up. Things are about to change. And as I laugh and I see like the way of the world changing, I'm like, we tried to tell you.
Yeah.
I see how there's like resistance. We getting pushed back, and I'm like, some people you don't even tell. Don't waste your voice. Don't tell them. Just show them.
Yeah.
Just show them. So we're gonna show them. That's why I get excited when I meet people like you. It's validation. I believe in that soul tribe. I believe in that idea that like we're all gonna be here to make a better difference. Right? We're gonna push it forward. When I see leaders like you and all these innovators and like the youth coming out in all these great ways, I look at people like that and I'm like, just wait. Just wait. Because I'm telling you, beautiful, and I'm not judging. But how great would that be for everybody? How great would that be for everybody? And they're like, no, they won't work for everybody and it'll be overcrowded. I get it. But could it all be so simple, Rennie? Could it all be so simple?
I think it could, and I think it should. And I will do whatever it takes to be a part of that movement, and I'd rather die being a part of it than to not be a part of it at all, even if in my lifetime it only shifts one tiny needle. Because what else do we have to live for? I mean, I don't know why we're here, but that's why I'm here.
That's the fucking point. Oh, I love you. Just know I always say that too. I'm like, even it's just, I don't have to be the whole book. I don't have to be a chapter. I'm fine with just being the person that flipped it to the next page. Period on the page. At the end of the day, we're dropping the ocean in this life, you know? And we're all part of a bigger plan. And if I can help move that agenda forward in the right ways, in the good ways, like you said, that's enough for me. What else we here for?
Yeah.
What else we here for? Like Kanye said, right? So my grandkids can levitate. Look, Grandpa.
I can levitate.
That's it. That's why. That's it.
Oh my God.
Keep pushing it forward. One step at a time, one generation at a time. I get excited. Because don't get me wrong, the rich and the elite, y'all great. Y'all had your time. It's great. I enjoyed watching that, all of that. That was hilarious. That's crazy. Some of the yachts like melting in the middle of the water, and I'm like, oh my God.
Keep talking.
Life is great. So at the end of the day, I'm like, y'all had your time. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. Now the new energy, the new wave is coming. The more inclusive wave. The wave where like we could all win, because it could all be so simple. No rush. I'm excited about the sweater you gave me. I love it.
I know. I wish we remembered to bring it, because honestly,
I'm a dum-dum. I didn't think about it.
It is getting a little chilly.
A little nippy. Honestly, it's cool though, because honestly, I need to be outside more. So I'll enjoy the elements, whatever it brings. I'm just happy to be outside.
I know. When I'm with you, I always take a pause moment. And I'm very grateful for that, for sure.
I love that. Sometimes I'm weird. I just randomly retreat. But sometimes you just need to take a breath from a random moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm very comfortable in your presence. So I'm like, a silent moment is an okay moment.
Yes.
And I look around. Sometimes I cry. I'm very emotional these days, so I cry a lot.
I feel like that too. I feel like in the past 6 months, I don't know what wall was broken in me that has allowed me to like cry, because like as a kid I was very emotional, but I would always do it alone. And this is why I love talking out loud. Maybe it was because I started being in control of who was around me that I started to feel comfortable to cry in quote unquote public.
I hear you.
Yeah. I mean, yes. I cried with people I just met yesterday at dinner last night. Like 90% of us, men and women, were crying at the dinner table. And that's not something I can say I've ever done before.
I hear you. That sense of vulnerability in such a public space, especially around people who, you just met. You don't know that they don't have the prerequisite not to judge you, or, take your tears for a weakness, or, something else that's like, it's so true. It's so true. It's funny because when we met and like I think we did our first photo shoot, I think we ended up crying in a park together, and it's like,
oh my God, I just got chills.
I remember that, and I remember just like that discomfortability, that real raw moment, and it's like it's because you finally get to choose the people who you are interacting with, and honestly, go you girl, cry everywhere you want, in the presence of all the people you know that will hold that space for you. Because honestly too, it's nice to just be able to do it, to cry and know that I'm not burdening the other person. I'm not asking you to fix it. Oh, it was a leaf.
Oh my God.
A leaf.
That just...
Don't worry, I had one scare me earlier.
Freaked me out.
I thought it was something scary.
Because it felt so big. Like, okay, I've had ants crawl on me.
Not that.
This
that would
whole
be like a
time.
whole... That would be like a whole...
beetle.
Yeah.
Like an actual cockroach.
That would be a big guy. Yeah,
the
that would be like
big guy. Yeah, no, I was really scared. We've had ants crawling on us this whole time, and I'm like,
yeah, Mother Nature, we're cool.
Yeah, we're cool. That one was really big.
Yeah, it was a leaf.
Big guy.
Thank God it didn't bite.
But what would you say if you could choose one thing that's helped you more than any other thing, whether it's a mantra, whether it be a tool, a practice? What is that for you, do you think?
It's so funny. I'm trying to think. I'm like, is it a mantra? I know exactly what it is. It's as cliche as it sounds in this day and age, because everyone says it, right? In the real sense, it's meditation. The answer is meditation. And it's like, what does that mean, Amanda? What does it mean? What is the code? Crack the code of meditation. Everyone thinks it's like this hard, difficult concept to like achieve or create. You have to be perfectly sat in this perfect position with a pillow under your butt and your waist above your knees, and you have to be still or silent. No, honestly, chill the fuck out, sit the fuck back, lay down, breathe, take a breath, and then take another, and then take another again, and then take another. Meditation is simply just taking a breath. Connecting back to your life force is simply connecting back to your breath. And it sounds beautiful and like the spiritual yogi sense. It's a lot less complicated than that. It's simply just taking a breath and connecting back to the fact that, kind of like what we talked about with Grace, that you are human.
And you're here.
And you're here in this present moment. And it's okay to be worried about the next thing and the last thing and the most awkward thing and over-analyzing every conversation and situation you have. It happens, great. And after you're done, what comes next? Sit with it long enough, my friends, to find out what happens next. And that's the part and the beauty of meditation.
Sit with it long enough. Sit with everything long enough. Take a breath. Take a breath, because there has been so many times that, you know, I've ended up in the hospital because I'm like, I can't. I quit. I gotta go. Like, it's too much.
The fight or flight kicks in, yeah.
But if you take a moment, and it all comes with time, you know, but I just hope that more often than not, kids are given that time and they don't take it away from themselves.
I think society doesn't allow the time, right? It's awkward to cry in public. We just talked about it, right? It's awkward to take a moment. And sometimes that is in a big city, in a New York City subway, on a train. Sometimes, and of course, New Yorkers, if you know that, we cry on the train all the time.
Yeah.
It's
like crying in the club.
Yes.
At this point.
Exactly. Sometimes people, you know, don't feel so comfortable, or there's no time, and it's like, give yourself the time long enough to finally hear what happens after the bullshit, after the mess, after the stress, after the worry. Okay, you worried, now what happens next? The questions, the answers, the intuition will start to come. There we go. They come through. And whether that's higher wisdom, your higher self, or just the answers that always were living within, they're only going to be one way you're going to hear them. If you take yourself silent enough, moment enough to just hear it out. So it doesn't need to be perfect. Point of everything. Doesn't need to be on a mat. Doesn't need to be in a sacred place, although I always say anywhere you're doing any spiritual practice is considered sacred. Just get the idea that out of your mind that it has to be a yoga shala or a church or this or that.
Or that it has to be a certain amount of space in front of you, behind you, next to you.
Yes, yes. It could be in a New York City closet. I know some people call it their prayer closet. That counts. Prayer is a form of meditation. Whatever it is, that moment of just reflection. Reflection, reflection, reflection. That has helped me the most. Look at this boat as we pass. Look at these people.
Oh my goodness.
I love it. Honestly, I really want a boat myself, just to go see the sunset a little closer, or the sunrise. I don't know, it's like a silly idea, but I really do think I can get closer enough to touch it, so I'm like, I'm getting there.
I actually had an experience where Bo and I slept on a boat, on the top of a boat, on mattresses for 3 days.
Oh my God.
With my friend Nicole and her boyfriend Tom, and there was barely a floor on that boat, but we made it work with 2 dogs and 3 adults.
That's amazing.
And we had a great time. We went from Pennsylvania to Maryland and we got crabs. And
that's awesome.
I will say, I don't think I could sleep on a boat full time. My motion sickness held out for those 3 days for me, truly. Towards the end, it got really hard just to not be on flat ground.
I can imagine.
But I will say, sleeping literally under the stars has to be top 10 things ever. So you will get there and you will do it.
Speaking to my soul, it's funny, I never wanted to be on a cruise. I don't want the cruise life, and I mean that.
Right.
I can't see myself not being able to touch land for that long. But yes, I will definitely do a 3-day boat trip, and under the stars, you say my name.
I will say, I'm giving myself grace in the fact that this visual aspect is not what I want it to be. I would love to show more of your beautiful face, but the bench is not letting it be. But I don't think this word is any less valuable, and it's going to be shared regardless of the perfect picture that I had in my mind. And you'll be back to share the word whenever you can, and you get to grace me and us and my YouTube channel with it.
I cannot wait. Anytime. Anytime. It's a blessing. I am forever grateful to you. So yes, anytime. And thank you. I actually love when things don't turn out the way you planned. And it will always be a blessing in disguise. Like you said, you're gonna learn something from this. You're gonna get a new technique that you go, I know your creative mind. If something's gonna come from this, and you're like, boom, look what I can do now. Because it's just a challenge that you're gonna be able to work better.
100%. And yeah, so to kind of just finish it off, and so you can get home.
Right, I know.
Because I would keep you forever.
Girl, I will stay forever. Don't tell that. You know me. I told you. I tell her every time I see her, we're going to just jump in the car and go to California. Girl, don't play with me. We go. Yeah, boy. For me, it's always free-spirited, honestly. I feel like timing doesn't exist, and all the other things I don't believe exist, right? So timing, right?
Yeah.
Moments happen. Can't plan them, you can't time them, and so who am I to rush a moment, right? And the world runs on a time clock, and they want you here at 7 o'clock, 7:30, 7:50. It's like, I'll get there when I get there.
Yeah.
When the good Lord has it, 100.
So, would you be comfortable sharing your personal experience with mental health, and if you claim or have or been diagnosed with anything of the sort?
It's so funny. I love the topic of mental health because it is now becoming so common and so well received and well created in so many ways, because a lot of people didn't want to talk about it before, and now we're able to actually speak about our truths in ways that are actually conducive for other people. Before, if we spoke about it, it was ostracized, or you were made to feel like you were crazy, or you didn't want to because you didn't want to be diagnosed as crazy and all these things. Now it's actually become the truth that it's actually just something we all, I believe, live with. So whether you are clinically diagnosed, or you see a therapist, or you just do things, no, it definitely matters to believe that we all lack in it somewhere.
Yeah.
It is truth. It is unfortunate in today's day and in society. I wish we lived in a world where, no, we didn't have any. All of us, I see as a collective, are experiencing some form of ADHD, some form of OCD. That compulsive disorder is real, especially within my waking life. Depression, whether that's super onset or it just happens, sporadically, we all have it. And the fact that we were ever so blind to believe that maybe we didn't, I find that kind of comical. I blame the world for not wanting to talk about it.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about it. Who am I to say I don't have, maybe one of the 3, one of the 10, one of the 8, right? I'll say all this. I learned that who I am and the way I am doesn't come from nowhere. And as I started to accept that and understand that in my late now, right, because I'm over that 25 plus, so my late 20s, I do struggle with my mental health to an extent that I realize it somehow hinders my waking life, but in a way that I don't regret and I don't hate anymore.
Oh, that acceptance piece is coming back.
Whew, when I tell you, I realize I am who I am, and that is okay. I am super obsessive, I'm super compulsive, I'm super energetic, I'm super haywire, ADHD sometimes. I cannot come down, and although to some people that come off quirky or cute, sometimes they don't understand the burnout that could create on someone's own body or personality or mental health space.
Yeah.
Yes. And as I started to get older and I realized, wow, I've been living with this for a while, I realized it's just never been, let's say, clinically diagnosed and really ever spoke about. Now that it finally is, I'm relating on so many things to other people who haven't been, because they're able to speak about it now in ways that are helpful and conducive for people like me who need to hear it. You see how it comes full circle. I start to realize intrusive thoughts, for instance. Those are one thing. Those are always top on my list. Compulsion, I can't lie. That's actually something that I'm constantly led by. And then some of them I struggle with in the verbal sense. So how, whether I believe that's connected to my spiritual side and my spiritual gifts or not, one that I don't talk about a lot and a lot of people don't even know. I have a little bit of, and I don't even know how to explain it in like the actual verbiage, but it's almost like a mental tick in my language where I'll either rhyme and repeat things. And I've looked it up before, and I've talked to some therapists about it, and it's something called like clanging, and it's where you constantly rhyme things in your brain. Now, whether that's to help you get them out a little easier, or it's a really weird thing.
Wow.
For me, it was almost to a fault. I couldn't get a sentence out without rhyming it or rapping it, and it's in my most stressed sense. It's weird, it happens, and it wasn't until I started to explore it, I started to realize, no, you're not just quote unquote weird or different. There's something there. It's something deeper. And that's okay. Okay, I will say that for me, I've learned to accept it, and so you learn about it. It's awesome to figure out why I am the way I am. And so all of that to say in a nutshell, I definitely struggle with mental health, but I always say but in a good way, because the struggle has just kept me constantly becoming a better person, a more understanding person, someone who gives grace on such a deep level where it's mind-blowing. I make the joke all the time, but there are no such things as crazy people, right? And people are like, oh no, there are people who do crazy things in this world, and there's people who do bad things. Oh no, honey, I know the evils that exist, and I do not deny them. But what I no longer do is judge anyone for anything. I don't know what pushed people to certain points in their lives, or why people had to do certain things that they had to do. Who am I to judge? I hand my grace over in the fact that I know that my mental health has gotten me to some places where I'm grateful to say nothing deep enough that has astronomically changed my life, but things that sometimes you couldn't even speak or think. And as weird as it sounds, it's more common than, and understanding that that's okay too. You learn to find grace with it all.
And that's literally what I wanted this to be, is just speaking to people about this very topic and to shed light on, even just with the first 2 episodes, 2 women near same age. Mandy's about to be 30, you're 26. Same name, completely different backgrounds. Mandy grew up in Norwalk, father, mother, very strong Puerto Rican household. This is crazy.
I love it.
Right? And then you, another Amanda, another strong and beautiful woman, raised in the Bronx with an even stronger mother, single mother. And I feel like anyone who watches the 2 of you can gain so much. So many parallels, so many differences, so many similarities. And yet, I think this material, this content, this should be consumed, and it's going to be special for people to consume, and people need to hear that more people are going through this. And whether it's this version on this spectrum or at this level, at this intensity, we all feel a certain level of it.
Yes, it's so true. No, it's you said it in a nutshell. It's beyond true that I'm speechless, because yes, on both sides and all sides of the spectrum, yes. Whether it comes in the form of anxiety, to the point where I'll tell you the funniest thing about that, so many people don't even understand what anxiety is until you explain it to them, and they go, oh, I feel that all the time. People have normalized it to the point where that pinch in that gut in your stomach, where you really have that moment of panic and fight or flight and passionate pain in your heart, where you're like, I don't know if I'm going to cry. Is that a knot in my throat? Is that I can't breathe? I can't catch my breath. Oh, that's not normal life. You shouldn't feel like that every time your boss walks in the room or every time you walk into the office. That's not normal life. No, my friends, we've normalized. That's not normal life. No,
when you sleep with your husband at night, the feeling in the pit of your stomach, there should be no feeling. It should be at ease.
It should be bliss. And when I tell you, my friends, it is actually unfortunate. It is not more common that we speak about anxiety until now, 22. Now, like what my parents have been, lived their majority of their growing their kids' years and all that. And now just think that now they're finally understanding. Oh, that thing that tension, that feeling, oh, that was anxiety all these years. To watch my parents at the age of 50 finally work on their mental health is a beautiful thing. It just pains me that it took 50 years to finally do it. And I vouch to myself, I'm, about half their age, and I'm like, blessed the fact that I'm able to work on it now. And it just makes me sad that they didn't get to understand it at their time. Anxiety is definitely one I deal with. I'll tell you, panic attacks are the worst, but one thing you can always take from it is this. It is a moment. You will get through it. There is no way to get out of it. So remember, I didn't say you will get, no, you cannot get out of it. There's no off button to a panic attack. There's no off button to that moment, no. But there is a get through it moment. Through breath, through affirmation, speaking back to it, reminding yourself that all those what ifs aren't real. Speaking, literally the antidote. I call it the antidote because it's almost like a medicine. So if you're in fear, this is about to happen. No, it's not. No, it's not. Talk back to yourself. Talk yourself off that ledge. Breathe through it, and know that at the end of this, you are going to be all right. Those fears of, I can't breathe. Now I'm going to make my heart rate raise, and I'm going to, that spirals into other things. Remind yourself, this is what this is. Identify it. This is a panic attack. This is a high anxiety moment. Identify where you're at. I am safe. I am okay. I am in my body. I am in this moment. I am here now. And then the last one, breath. Return to that breath. Know that every time I breathe, I'm holding on a little longer. I'm getting an extra breath. Even longer the next time. If you can make that 3 count to a 4 count, that 4 count to a 5, you're halfway there. You're almost out. And know that little in no time, you'll realize your heart rate's going to settle. Your mind's going to, your shoulders are going to unclench your jaw. Close your eyes if you have to, if you're in a safe place. If you're driving, pull over. It happens. You can't schedule a panic attack. Do what you got to do. But remind yourself that at the end of this was just a moment. And I'm going to be okay. I'm telling you, those offset me all the time.
I love that. I love that. So leave the people with where they can connect with you, where you'd like to be connected.
Oh, my funny self is I want to be connected everywhere. Call me. I always say call me. But then the joke is my family says, no, I call you and then you never answer. You're always on the beach right now. So in the funniest ways, the best absolute way to connect with me is, of course, through the socials. We have been having a lot of fun with trying to keep up with my website. And I will tell you that is somewhere where I have put my heart and passion into and my soul. I am still developing all the concepts that will continue to develop on there. But I told myself that even if it's not perfect, put it out there anyways. So as that is a developmental project, I am at healyoga.org, and that's my little website, healyoga.org, HEAL, helping elevate all lives.
Wow.
That's what HEAL stands for, because it's more than just the idea of healing. It's the idea of elevating, because we're healing to elevate, and that movement in itself is what my passion is to continue to create. So my organization, and then the tribe that we created out of that. So the Collective Consciousness is how most people know me. Instagram at the Collective Consciousness. It's funny, that became my tagline over that summertime, and I was like, it kind of has a nice ring to it. Ultimately, it's not really me, it's the tribe. I always say it's never me, it is the tribe. We are a soul tribe. We are the people, and that's what makes everything that I do, the people. I always say I'm just a vessel, I'm one of us. So you feel that energy, you feel that call, you feel that vibration, know that that is your soul tribe calling. And so if you want to join, follow at the Collective Consciousness. I'll be there. Hit me up, DM me, and reach out on the website. We have some fun things coming out soon.
Yay! Because we don't have our own soundboard, we'll make our own soundboard.
That's it. Oh my God, all in the works. Until one day we'll have too many.
Yes. I love you so much.
Thank you for being
here.
Oh my God, anytime. Call me. Anytime.
Call me if you want to reach me. Kim Possible, we're out of here.
Let's do it. We got it. What time is it? On the dot, right? I knew it. I felt it.